The City of Oconomowoc Common Council meeting for Wednesday, November 4th. Has appropriate meeting notification been made, please?
Yes, Your Honor, it has.
Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Rogers. Here. Rosick.
Here.
Zaffel.
Present.
Ellis.
Here.
Spiegelberg.
Here.
Mulder.
Here.
Shell Pepper.
Here.
Kowieski.
Here.
Thank you.
I'd entertain a motion for approval of the minutes for October 6, 2020.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any comments or suggestions from the citizens in the audience? None there. We'll move on to our consent agenda items. I'd entertain a motion for the consent agenda items A through E.
So moved. Second.
Call roll, please.
Rogers.
Here.
Rosick.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Rosick.
Aye.
Zaffel.
Aye.
Ellis. Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Mulder. Shell
Aye.
Pepper. You're trying to mess me up. I'm new at this.
No, you're messing us up.
Kowieski.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Motion carried very well. Thanks. On to committee reports from Finance. Consider act on Resolution 20-R2894, setting fee and street trees. Excuse me.
For you to say. This should be fairly quick, but if you recall from 2 weeks ago, we changed the ordinance. You approved ordinance 1808 2M with some of the street tree language and how we're going to do that. Tonight, it's a resolution which sets the fee at $500 per tree. We obviously didn't put that in the ordinance to keep it separate. So as in future years, if that needs to be adjusted, we can do so in a much easier way. So we've had great feedback from different developers, so that's what we're recommending tonight, at setting the fee at $500 per tree.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Real quick.
Alderman
Yeah, Mark?
Kowieski?
Does this need a second reading, or can we, pass
Resolution.
this?
This is a resolution.
This is a
We're done.
resolution.
Okay.
Non-ordinance. Any further comments? Call roll, please.
Rogers.
Aye.
Rosick.
Aye.
Zaffel.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Mulder.
Aye.
Shell Pepper.
Aye.
Kowieski.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hepner. Mr. Duffy, let's move on to a new business. Consider act on resolution 20-R2896, declaring Olympia Fields redevelopment area a blighted area. Mr. Duffy.
Sure, let's start by talking about where we've been. So in September, you directed the CDA and myself as their executive director to establish boundaries, develop a redevelopment plan, and establish an area as blight. So this is really that first step as we continue to go through. What I intend to do is I shared with you several documents, the blight determination and photos. I believe by statute I have to go through those, so I will be doing that today. And ultimately looking for your approval of the resolution, consistent with the recommendation of the CDA. So with that, let's go through the little legal piece, right? Defining of blight by reason of a dilapidation, deterioration, age, or obsolescence is what we can determine blight based on statute. And again, I'm not going to read all that to you. We've seen this on several occasions related to these areas. The other legal piece, obviously the CDA is involved in this, related to designated boundaries. They did that on October 27th. You should have that resolution in your packet, designating those boundaries and recommending that to you. Ultimately, that'll come down to a prepared redevelopment plan, which I believe you've seen a draft of. We met on October 20th, and they will need to conduct a public hearing. Those public hearing notices to those 11 property owners have gone out. That public hearing was set by the CDA for November 19th in this room at 5:30. The next piece, you have the ultimate authority as the city council. Where we are today is we need to adopt a resolution of the council declaring the area to be blighted in need of blight elimination under 66-1333. The next pieces that will need to come forward is, or actually the resolution, two-thirds, this resolution tonight also incorporates that project area by reference, both through their resolution as well as the resolution in Exhibit A that you have before you tonight. And then ultimately adopt a resolution by two-thirds of the council for the redevelopment plan, which will happen December 1st based on our timeline, if we still continue to do that, which needs to happen after the hearing. So those are just logistic pieces. So here's the blight analysis area. It is about 67 acres to making up 11 parcels. These are the 11 parcels identified as it relates to it. As most of you are well aware, this is an area of private roads, strange conditions as it relates to over time, how it's been fragmented, as well as some interesting ownership that goes on there. So parcel by parcel, believe it or not, we have a city-owned water tower on a private piece of property, which is kind of an oddity that I'm not quite sure how that ever occurred.
Do we pay lease on that? Do we pay rent?
I don't believe we pay rent, and if we do, it's probably $1.
They say you could put a water tower on my property for a couple grand a month. It'd be
It's
fun.
like, but somehow over time that's happened, so. Let's see here, why are we not going? This is the parcel that's adjacent to the former Kmart property. It's a privately owned right-of-way parcel connecting Unity Drive to all the lands to the west. This parcel actually goes from right around where Kmart is and extends out into the golf course. That's why you had that strange leg that went out into that area, which was retained by one of the Basari ownership groups. This is a remnant parcel, has always served, as we understand, as a stormwater facility for Summit Avenue. It is currently controlled by one of the ownership arms of Vanguard. This is the underutilized parcel that's adjacent to the pond, forested. Many of those trees actually are diseased. And again, you'll hear a lot of this as we continue to march through this area. These are the areas with substandard infrastructure because all of these roadway systems fronting all these parcels are actually private, not a public street. The Olympia Resort itself, which closed in January of 2019, so the resort part, the building obviously has been vacant for some time, as well as the lack of maintenance with the parking lot. This is Water Tower Center. It's included in the area. We've had conversations with the owner, really left it up to them. Do you want to be in? Do you want to be out? They have indicated they want to be out. The reason we have it in is because they're adjacent to a private roadway system. So again, they, what we are aware of is it's a single point of access. You can see vehicles, even in the picture I was there that day, stacked vehicles, because there is some inadequacy of parking supply for tenants that the current owner, as well as the previous owner, has indicated to the city. Vacant parcel out front. This is controlled by one of the Vanguard entities. These parcels were originally left vacant because of a viewshed lease hold interest that Kmart had. They could not develop these properties because the Kmart sign needed to be visible from Highway 67. That was a leasehold restriction. Since that time, these parcels have been on the market, however, have not been sold for one reason or another. One of them obviously could be is that there's inadequate infrastructure from a sewer water standpoint, as well as the roadway system. So the actual shopping plaza, Kmart closed in 2019, had a temporary tenant. We've seen that over the last several years. Obviously, the facade of that facility could see an upgrade. The deterioration of the parking lot is definitely evident. I know when we used that area for a polling site, we filled the potholes that could have held a car. So, in order to use that, so. This is an odd-shaped piece, again, showing the strangeness of these private roadway systems. That is an actual separate parcel, that is the frontage road. And some of the other frontage road pieces are with other property or parcels as well. Former Expo Center and theater property, as we've talked about in the past, the theater itself is attached to the resort. They share a common wall. Say in the 19+ years I've been here, there's been nothing in that building. So obviously it is definitely a piece of property that, because of vacant, could be considered blighted, as well as our overgrown parking field, showing a lack of upkeep and maintenance. One of the final parcels is the vacant parcel adjacent to Stein's and adjacent to the Kmart Plaza property. It has been vacant for some time, previously harvested for winter wheat. What staff is required to do is go through the matrix. As I said, there's 65 acres within this area. What we did do then is identify all those blighting influences in the chart before you, which is also in the report, and then actually identify parcels that would be considered blight given those check marks. There are ones that are not considered blight. I did not consider right-of-way areas blight. They're serving a purpose. The water tower piece, the water tower center piece, parcel, it's an active, it's a filled retail center. I did not consider that blighted, but it's in the district and in the project area because there's ultimate public improvements that would need to happen. So in going through that analysis and the total acreage, currently 57 acres or 88% of this area could be deemed blighted by this council. Statutorily, the requirement is greater than 50% to do a blight determination. This is the actual boundary that was approved and recommended to you by the CDA. As we've talked in the past, this is also could be a TID boundary, but it's serving as a dual purpose in this situation. And as we talked in the past, this is a ultimate step process as it relates to if there is interest by the city in order to move this property this project forward and the needing of a key parcel. This is the actual parcel diagram and description that came from the May 2000 resolution of necessity the council passed, which authorized staff to also do an appraisal, and that appraisal being forwarded to the property owner by Attorney Riffle. We know, as we've heard in past conversations, this is the proposed redevelopment component that Wungard has presented. That'll also be key and core into the redevelopment plan. What we will do in the public hearing when that happens on the 19th is define those public infrastructure pieces necessary at that time, not tonight. So, with that, the resolution obviously is before you. It's the opinion of staff that conditions exist in the area to justify the finding of blight with the Blight Elimination Slum Clearance Act under 66-1333. So that is what's before you this evening. Welcome any questions, comments, concerns, or if there's anything Attorney Riffle feels I need to add to be in conformance with 66-1333.
You're good.
Alderman Rozak?
Well, after that presentation, and based on the resolution and what's been presented, both on the PowerPoint and in the materials, I do believe that area meets the definitions as defined in 66.1333 and its subparts. It looks like clearly more than 50% is blighted. It's that area, the 65 acres is close to 88% blighted. I agree with that determination and accept the staff's recommendations on that.
Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Rogers?
Aye.
Rosick?
Aye.
Zaffel?
Aye.
Ellis?
Aye.
Spiegelberg?
Aye.
Mulder?
Aye.
Shellpepper?
Aye.
Kowieski? Motion carries.
Thank you. Move on to, I don't believe we have any staff reports. Does anyone else have a staff report? Sure. Chief Pfister, do you mind just giving a little update about Saturday before, as a staff report, please? Sorry to put you on the spot, but that way if anyone has any questions, we can address them quickly.
Ribbon cutting.
Coming?
You get
How's it,
an email on it?
Yeah, this Saturday, we will be having an open house at the new Public Safety Building. The aldermen and PFC members are invited to attend at 9 a.m. and we'll be giving a tour to everybody, a guided tour through there. At 10 a.m., we will be having a ribbon cutting ceremony outside, and then it will be open to the public from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with guided tours as well, with some light refreshments in our garage area at the end. So I really would like to encourage the public to come and see the building. It's turned out wonderful, and we really want to show off to our community what this council has put together for us.
We've also invited past mayors to come, and several will be attending. In addition, the council that, from this last council that was a big part of that, I also called each one personally and invited them as well. So thank you very much. Any questions at all?
Will you have extra donuts at night?
Yeah.
He said there's light snacks and drinks, so. Food truck.
That's what I was gonna say.
No, isn't there not an outlot that they can?
Do we have any reports or comments from Alderman? Alderman Zappel?
I just want to thank the clerk's office for everything they did to have a smooth election. I appreciate the update you sent out yesterday, Mayor, in regards to the progress of everything. I know they're not here tonight, but their hours and their work did not go unnoticed from members of the community. So thank you to the clerk's office and staff. And I know I gave kudos a while to you, Mayor, but thank you again for all the help you did, because our new city administrator starts next week.
5 days, but who's counting, right?
So, but thank you again for doing it for free.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other comments from Alderman? Alderman Kowieski.
I'll echo Alderman Zaffel's compliments to our city clerk's office for the hard work put into this election. This election was very contentious, and we saw that within the community. The election is working itself out, but the votes are done and the campaigning is over. And it's a great time to remember that we are one community, and that it is time to re-engage as such and enjoy the friendship and the camaraderie and everything that goes along with our community as a whole.
Alderman Ellis.
Yeah, I did something today that I think you all may want to consider, and that is that I made a phone call to Diane and a couple of the other individuals just to thank them, and they really appreciated it, and I think that would be really good if you all just spent 2 seconds, said, hey, thank you for all you do. I think that would go a long ways.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
And this is like triple echo of some of these other comments. But I actually had a citizen say they were so impressed with how well everything went and how smoothly everything ran, and who could they thank? And I said, definitely our city clerk's office. That would be just amazing. Give them a phone call, drop a note in the mail or whatever, because they just do an amazing job. So, yeah.
Any further comments? I'll have a last couple comments as mayor. I just want to do two quick shout outs. One to Mr. Gallo. Jason, thank you. He brought up the food truck stuff to me several months ago, and we talked about it. and he started investigating it, and he took it to a next level, which I think is going to help you guys as our policymakers put something pretty cool together with a lot of thought and foresight. So Jason, thank you, a fantastic job. Also, you may notice that Lori Sullivan is sitting here typing like crazy, right? Well, we have a system that allows us to do that here in the city, and so we're testing that a little bit more aggressively today for taking all the meeting notes, looking at ways to increase efficiency and productivity. And so she's done that for all the committee meetings as well as for tonight's council meeting, as we try to look at ways to run a little bit better from an operations standpoint. So Lori, thank you. And she generously offered to do this so that the clerks could have the night off. My guess is they're sleeping, and I hope they are. They've worked very, very hard. But there are a lot of people behind the scenes so that council members know that helped in this whole election process, that they know who they are. I'm not going to go and run through a list, but the teamwork and the culture that we're seeing really build within the city, I'm very impressed with. And Lori, thank you. Jason, thank you. Thank you for jumping in. And, you know, as I'm looking at Bob Duffy, I never really knew what he did as in the city. And as I've watched him maneuver through, for example, the Olympia project and some other things we're doing, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. And thank you, Bob, for all of your hard work. Great. So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you. Well, look at the clock, you guys.
No.